Well, hello everyone, and you join us here today to have a look at a brand new bargain Seiko, something that people are heralding as the return of the SKX. Tom, are you familiar with the Seiko SKX and the whole aura that surrounds it?
Yeah, I've heard people say it a lot. My impression of it is that it's like a much-loved Seiko diver that is now no more, and people were like, oh, where's it gone? But yeah, that's all I know about it, really.
So I'll give you probably the less provocative version of that.
Right.
In the 1960s, Seiko introduced its first dive watch, and the big difference between its dive watch and all the other dive watches that came out before was that this was much more affordable. It gave great quality, great spec, built to be made available to people in the armed forces so they could actually buy it. Very popular in the Vietnam War because the soldiers could afford one where they couldn't afford a Rolex or equivalent. It's evolved over the years. It's always maintained that sense of being the affordable dive watch that won't let you down. Mm-hmm. In 1996, that evolution became the SKX.
Right.
That's where that name came about. But it was really tracing the lineage all the way back. You got 200 meters of water resistance, 120 click bezel. You've got a lume dot on the bezel, the caliber 7S26, and it was cheapy cheap.
Cool.
This was known for a long time as like the gateway drug for watches.
The friendly neighbourhood dive watch that everyone can enjoy.
Exactly, yeah. Many people consider it to have been the last real dive watch, as in one made for the purpose of diving and not for the purpose of wearing as a luxury product.
All right.
So is that, you got that? That's pretty clear, I think.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Like, I can see why people miss it. Yeah, fair enough.
Alongside that, 1960s, you also had the Seiko 5 Sportmatic.
Right.
This watch was your everything else watch, your field watch, your adventurer watch, your rugged beta watch. I think it was a little bit cheaper still, but a great watch for people to buy and own and rely upon.
Your friendly neighbourhood everyday watch.
Exactly. I think we're clear on this one. Here's where things start getting a little bit muddy. In 2019, the Seiko 5 series combined with the SKX to create the Seiko 5 SRPD.
Right, yes. Yeah, I heard of that. That's what the Seiko 5 is as we know it. I've not heard SRPD though. I always just thought it was Seiko 5 resorbed the SKX and everyone was sad for a bit.
Well, everyone was sad because SKX went and SRPD came in, but there's a reason I think that you don't remember the SRPD name that we'll get to. What you might remember is they classified it under such categories as sports, suits, specialist, street.
Yeah, we've been through this. It's very confusing. It's just a mishmash of all different kinds of watches and styles and colours and bracelet types and all these kind of different things, but all sort of categorised under Seiko 5. So yeah, it's a bit of a free-for-all in there.
So you've got your dive watch for doing sports diving with. You've got your sports watch to wear with a suit that's less sporty than the dive watch that's for sports. You've got the specialist dive watch that's for specialist diving that's different to the sports diving or suit diving. And then you've got the one for the street as well if you just want to be a little bit more casual.
Yeah, but they all pretty much look the same.
They do. And to add to that, we now have the brand new Seiko 5 Sports GMT SKX. This is the return of the SKX, and that's not just hearsay because SKX is back in the title. Tom, you've done a little bit more digging on this actual watch. Let's go through some of the specs and we'll see what we can make of it.
This is a £400 watch, so a little bit more than the regular Seiko 5, which is around 250, 300. Seiko 5, the 5 represents the original 5 key features of every Seiko 5, still present today. Automatic movement, day-date display, water resistance, recessed crown, and durable case and bracelet. Doesn't mention a GMT hand in there anyway, but...
Sorry, you mentioned day-date display. This doesn't have a day-date display.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, no, it doesn't. It's just the date. So it's a Seiko 4 SKX reinterpretation. Brilliant.
With an extra hand that costs another £100.
Yeah, this goes so well. So it comes in 3 designs, black, blue and orange, and it has a bicolor 24-hour bezel, which is coated in Seiko's Hardlex glass, which is quite nice. The bicolor is very subtle. It's sort of like a black and grey two-tone, but yeah, it is there. 42.5 millimeters in diameter and 13.56 millimeters thick. So they're saying this is just 0.1 millimeters thicker than the existing Seiko 5. So only 0.1 millimeters to get a GMT in there. But that's still pretty darn thick. The Seiko 5 is quite a tall bugger. It's got a caliber 4R3R, which is based on the Seiko family of 4R calibers with the GMT hand in it. Yeah, that's your spec. Back to you, Andrew.
I'm so confused. So you're saying you don't remember the SRPD? Maybe the SRPD. I'm going to have a quick look. I'm going to have a quick look at Seiko's website. I'm going to have a look and see what the SRPD is.
I was just thought it was Seiko 5. Sports, streets, suits, hoods, snitches.
Oh, I'm even more confused. They're now calling the whole collection SKX. The SKX Sports Style, SKX Suit Style, SKX Specialist Style. They definitely removed the SKX. It was called the SRPD. Am I going crazy here? They definitely called it the SRPD.
So it seems like they've stuck SKX at the front of all their various styles, and now they've separated some of the other Seiko 5s into field categories. So you've got field sports, suit style, etc.
Oh!
I think they may have heard us complaining the first time around when it was a bit of a minefield to, pick out a Seiko 5, and they've sort of chopped them up and recategorized them a bit further, so it's a bit easier to find.
So what they've done here is, I think what they've done is they've tried to separate out what made the SKX, the dive watch, and the Seiko 5, the Seiko 5. But they're calling them all Seiko 5. So you've got the SKX Seiko 5 for the reinterpretation of the SKX, and the field is the reinterpretation of the Seiko 5. So the SRPD element is now just consigned to the model number, not the name. So it's something that's been pulled back in favour of putting SKX in the model. Right, so to carry your analogy of it being a minefield and Seiko wanting to clear that minefield, usually the way that is done is to take the mines and remove them from the minefield. Here what they've done is they've taken the mines and just put them in a different place.
Yeah, they've made more fields. Yeah, very interesting. So suddenly it seems to me that they've introduced a GMT and reintroduced the SKX branding, and sort of chopped up the Series 5 into SKX and field categories. And yeah.
So the SKX now, as it is, doesn't have the loom dot on the bezel, doesn't have, I don't think, the 120 click bezel, doesn't have the 200 meters of water resistance.
Doesn't have the day.
The GMT doesn't have the day, and they're a bit more expensive. So I'm not sure how this is the return of the SKX. And don't get me wrong, I bet this is a great watch. Especially in comparison to how watch prices have gone now. Brilliant. Lovely spec. Love the way it looks. But throwing SKX back into it again has just completely melted my melon, man.
Yeah, I think it's the return of the SKX because Seiko just started saying SKX.
Yeah, Seiko stopped saying SKX and everyone went, ah! And so they were like, SKX, and everyone's going, yeah.
Yeah. So for the first time ever, a GMT and also SKX, because even though the Seiko 5s already looked like the SKX anyway, but now they're just saying it again. So there you go.
There you go. The world has been righted. Order has been restored. The SKX name has been returned. Oh, I'm glad we got to the bottom of that one. I think we're going to need a little sit down before we talk about watches again, because that was quite a noodle scrambler.
Yeah.
So, dear viewer and listener, what do you think about this renaming? SKX, good thing, bad thing? Have they done the right thing? Let us know. And I'm going to go and a little sit down. See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.